Saturday afternoon football. It's the second meeting of the year between the Calgary Stampeders and the Hamilton Tiger Cats in what is expected to be the final game at Ron Joyce Stadium.
Two new tailbacks in this one. You see Hugh Charles for the Calgary Stampeders. This is the 7th game for Calgary. He'll be the 7th starting tailback for the Stampeders due to injury. On the other sideline, CJ Gable is out, so it'll be Moses Madu, 26 years old, out of Oklahoma. This is his first start since high school.
Kent Austin's Ticats have been the CFL's hard luck team so far. They've lost 4 games by under a touchdown, a combined total of 15 points. Looking for a much-needed win heading into the bye week, while John Huffnagel's crew won 10-7 when they met back in July. They are 4-0 against the East. They're 2-0 on the road and looking to go 6-1 on the season. Had a defensive struggle that game in July. Not much happened in that game, but I've got a feeling we should see a lot more fireworks today.
I think so. It's always advantage offense when you're playing a team for the second time. So second game for these two teams against each other. We should see some more offense here this afternoon.
There's Brandon Banks, who ran a punt back 97 yards last week. Quincy McDuffie the week before did the trick for Hamilton, so they've been dangerous on the teams. Let's see what Banks does here as he fields it and bounces outside to around the 30-yard line where he is taken down. Our starters to watch are brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, where custom advice comes standard.
Dan Lefevre is 1 and 2 as a starter. This is start number 4. Has 2 games over 100 yards rushing, and will have 2 new players in the offensive starting lineup. Mark Dial gets his first start at right tackle of the season, and we mentioned Moses Madu. He will start at tailback, replacing CJ Gable. So got to be a little nervous, Chris. Madu.
Heavy 6.
Has seen limited reps as a backup, including 3 carries, play action fake. He's released. Lefevre steps up, but not going very far as he's run down by Micah Johnson.
Now, the one guy that's going to want to shut down any confidence that a young player in Madu could possibly gain and then throughout this game is Dwan Simpson in the middle. 22 tackles for him, a couple of sacks on the season. He's the key run stopper. New interior tackle for the defense for Calgary. That's Junior Turner, gets his start inside, and I keep trying to go in different directions, but I have to put Charleston Hughes on when he gets a sack a game as a player to watch.
Second down, long pass complete over the middle, and that's a first down grab as Luke Tasker's back in the lineup after missing last week in BC.
Good timing right here from Dan Lefevre. Gets that protection needed. Didn't need many steamboats because of the timing. 3-step drop, let it go, and Tasker back in the lineup makes the first catch of the game.
16 for Tasker, who had just 1 catch for 13 in the first meeting against Calgary. First down up at the 44. The wind at the back of the Ticats in this opening quarter. Fake to Madu, the hitch to Banks. Got a block and has a first down. Dragged down by Jamar Wall at midfield.
Some players have great top-end speed. When they get that stride going, then you see their top-end speed. They're at high speed. This guy's got that 0 to 60 type speed. He can stop on a dime and then take off and get to full speed in a heartbeat. Seen it in the return game. Should see it more offensively.
Heavy 6.
Banks set up in the backfield. Now they empty it out. Pressure on, and down goes Lefevre. Sean Lemon off the edge. Former defensive end in Akron, where he played against Lefevre in the MAC conference. And a little reunion between those 2 conference players.
Well, Matt Dunnigan talked about it in the pregame that we talk about Charleston Hughes, rightfully so. But the other side gets a good push, too, and collapses in Sean Lemon, and he was unblocked on that one.
Second sack of the year. Both have come against the Tiger Cats for Lemon. So a loss of 8 and second in a bunch. early movement along the lines. I was going to mention that Ticats have now utilized 11 different starters on the offensive line only once.
Hamilton, number 50. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. Second down.
It's the left tackle, Jake Olsen. Only once have they gone back-to-back with the same front five.
The newcomer for this one this afternoon, Zach Mark Dial. His last game was the final last year. Eastern final, and he's back in the lineup, number 63 at right tackle. So he'll have his hands full, either Sean Lemon or Charleston Hughes.
Ticats coming off a game in which they had 15 penalties, 130 yards. First of the game here, and now a pass knocked down, intended for Ellingson. And the defensive play made by Jamar Wall.
Yeah, Jamar Wall in good position. There are a few Calgary Stampeders in that area. Ill-advised pass by Dan Lefevre. Lucky he didn't get that one picked off.
So Medlock comes on. And Cedric Cunningham is the return man in the absence of Jock Sanders today. With the wind, Cunningham lets it drop and bounce out of bounds, so no return. And Calgary will start at their own 18-yard line with Bo Levi Mitchell at the controls, ready to go back to work on a record of 8-1 so far as a Stampeder starter. Bo Levi Mitchell, 289 yards passing last week, 3 touchdowns against the Ottawa Redblacks, was limited to 201 in his start against the Tiger Cats back in mid-July. Start at the 17-yard line with Hugh Charles released from the backfield. And Bo Levi Mitchell scrambling now, penalty flag down, and a pass falls short of the intended target, Joe West.
Now that play took so long to develop and the coverage so good downfield that Mitchell had to pull it down, and by that time it's probably holding.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver. Hamilton, number 9. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Or illegal contact.
Brandon Stewart, an early call. And that's the 7th penalty against Stewart on the season. Ticats last in penalties taken and yardage on penalties so far this year.
Looks like he was working on Fuller, and you see right top of your screen there, a little bit of illegal contact when Fuller tried to break out.
Different guy in that secondary. Michael Coe is into the lineup, and here's Hugh Charles trying to get to the edge. Courtney Stephen there, and Rico Murray with the tackle at the 33. It's a gain of 6.
Take a look at the starters to watch offensively for the Calgary Stampeders. One of them is Hugh Charles, former Edmonton Eskimo, former Saskatchewan Roughrider, now a Calgary Stampeder, 7th tailback in 7 games. Put Anthony Parker in there because I had a good conversation with Dave Dickinson, offensive coordinator, saying he's playing with more confidence every game, should see the ball more. Left tackle Edwin Harrison gets the start this afternoon.
Harrison blocked for Hugh Charles in college in Colorado. Butler drops off, 2nd down. Mitchell on the run, and Bo Levi Mitchell will run for a first down. Just 11 carries, 76 yards coming into the game, in sharp contrast to Lefevre, but he runs for the first time against this Hamilton defense.
Well, they also talked to Orlando Steinauer, the defensive coordinator this week, said that Keontae Tripp's going to get the start at defensive end. They like to harden the edges if they can. Simone Lawrence been their best defensive player on whole, and Delvin Breaux, Steinauer feels is the best cover corner in the Canadian Football League.
First down up at the 45-yard line. And the pass complete. There's the reliable former Ticat, Marquay McDaniel, coming off his best game of the year. 9 catches, 117 yards last week.
Yeah, could easily put Marquay McDaniel in there as a guy to watch and take a look at how reliable he has been. In fact, probably, it's not a stretch to say, the best Calgary receiver this year. Maurice Price, of course, out of the lineup due to injury. They like the receiving corps, but Dickinson, I asked him, who's your best receiver? He said Nick Lewis is on the shelf, but right now it's Marquay McDaniel.
Got 11 and a first down. Flag down as they swing it out to Charles. Charles in trouble back behind the line of scrimmage as they rally to the football. Taylor Reed was on the scene, the middle linebacker, among others. But again, a flag down. It would be a loss of 5.
Offside. Hamilton, number 44. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. First down.
This has been an issue for Hamilton all year long, one that's been addressed all week long with Kent Austin, the head coach of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They are the most penalized team in the CFL, and an area they've just got to get better at.
You heard him speak to the troops prior to the game, referencing no self-inflicted wounds. Few paper cuts early. And now 1st and 5. Charles off the right side, and he'll crash down to the 45-yard line. 3 for Charles.
Reliable running back. A guy who, knows the Canadian Football League, can get you 100 if you continue to feed him the rock from start to finish.
Short yardage and a plunge with flags down as Bo Levi Mitchell be close to the first down.
But boy, has it been tricky for this Calgary offense to continue to rotate tailbacks.
Offside. Hamilton, number 94. 5-yard penalty. First down, Calgary.
Antonio Coleman. And so they'll mark it down at the 40-yard line. Well, Charles was cut by Edmonton, ended up in Saskatchewan at the terrific half. 13 carries, 86 yards, but 1 fumble, and that was it. And quickly picked up by the Stampeders with all the injuries mounting. Mitchell looking for Jeff Fuller, a catch in the flat, and Courtney Stevens bumps him out of bounds. John Hufnagel knew what he was getting in Hugh Charles.
He's an experienced back that's had great success in the Canadian Football League. I've coached against that guy for a number of years, and I know that what he can do, what he can't do. I know he was a pain in the butt for us, and he was hard to contain. And he plays hard. He has good skill out of the backfield, catching the football, runs hard, and so he can get the edge.
First down for Fuller, and now they pitch, and Charles trying to get outside again. He springs through. Hugh Charles is dragged down by the ankles. A touchdown-saving tackle by the safety, Craig Butler, but that's where Charles is most dangerous.
And he got the edge. His coach just in that clip talking about he's got that speed and quickness to get the edge, and how Coach Hufnagel talking about, I've had to coach against him, and often that's why a player is picked up when he's on the market, because you've coached against him, you know he's difficult to defend, so therefore you pick him up when you need to, and you've got a good football player that you know well.
3 carries, 24 yards. Stamps have not scored an opening possession touchdown this year. First down. Mitchell now on a roll and has to throw it away with pressure from Frederick Plessius.
Bo Levi Mitchell trying to direct traffic there as he rolled out, get his receivers to break off their routes and open up. Joe West is right along the sideline, and Dave Dickinson, a real good conversation with him this week about all the different tailbacks he's dealing with. He's had to pare down the playbook a little bit. Still likes his passing game. Looking forward to getting Maurice Price back, and he says, Bo Levi Mitchell just finds a way to win games. He's working on things, but he finds a way to win.
10th play of the drive. 2nd and 10. Pressure on. He escapes. Straight ahead. Touchdown. Bo Levi Mitchell has his 2nd touchdown of the season.
Finds a way. He wants to throw the football. He's looking downfield to 2 different reads. You can see him go back to the backside. When that didn't work out, saw that lane open up in the middle, and he took it.
So 10 plays, 93 yards in under 5 minutes. Paired as the extra point. 14-yard touchdown run for Bo Levi Mitchell. Stamps, strike first with Hamilton. Dan Lefebvre's running ability, and we saw Bo take off twice there, and 14-yard touchdown run, 26 yards on the drive rushing.
Made a note that Bo wasn't running all that much this year, just about a couple times a game. He's already got a couple of rushes and that touchdown run.
Paredes kicking it to Brandon Banks. And Banks contained at the 30-yard line. Tackled by Jeff Hecht. So we've seen Levi Mitchell engineer a touchdown drive. Let's see what Dan Lefebvre can do in response when we come back to Rockjoy Stadium.
Big boys up front for Calgary, opening up a lane for Levi Mitchell on that touchdown run. It was Spencer Wilson with the key block. You see Hall here wanting to try and run a stunt, and watch how Wilson just takes him and throws him out of there to open up the running lane for Levi Mitchell on this touchdown. This takes 72 and tosses him to the ground. And that is the escort for Mitchell.
Okay, 38 outs for sub. Nice job.
Nice block, Spencer Wilson.
Here's Lefebvre, Charleston Hughes pressuring, and Lefebvre takes off. And Dan Lefebvre has a first down run up at the 43-yard line. 272 yards rushing coming into the game, which is better than any of the Calgary running backs.
200-yard games, and Charleston Hughes made a little fundamental mistake here, and everyone does it, even these superstars in the league. He jumps to try and knock down a pass, and then Lefebvre makes a move on it.
103 yards last week against BC. You had a 109-yard game earlier against Ottawa. Here comes pressure, they dump it off, and Madu gets a block, cuts it back, and has another first down. Hughes from his defensive end spot makes the tackle, but Moses Madu with the first down. 5th catch of the year for Madu in limited duty.
Starts in the backfield, right beside Lefebvre, and they're setting up the screen to give him the football in space. 26 years old, was born in Bedford, Texas, but played his college ball at Oklahoma. He was back up there, but got lots of playing time. As I mentioned, this is his first start since high school. You got to believe he's got some butterflies.
Here's Lefebvre setting up, looking downfield, got it, and it's a trick play to Eric Harris. Touchdown! What's the linebacker doing up there? 55 yards.
Clearly a number that the Calgary secondary has not scouted. Didn't look at film and say, okay, whoever's got the linebacker's got to run with them. Charleston Hughes picked it up late, but couldn't track him down.
So Eric Harris now has more touchdown catches than Bakari Grant,
Andy Fantuz,
Ellingson, and Andy Fantuz. How do you like that? 55-yard touchdown strike. And the Ticats get even here in the opening quarter with an unlikely offensive threat. Well, there's Eric Harris, a 55-yard touchdown catch on what must be his first offensive play of the year.
He lines up here as a tight end, and then he's going to weave himself through the mix and then out the backside on this basically crossing route and go that Dan Lefebvre sells in a big way, rolls hard to his right, and then puts the brakes on and throws back down the numbers on the backside to Eric Harris, uncovered. Charleston Hughes saw him late, but couldn't catch up.
So it's 3 plays, 80 yards. Well, that's a pretty good catch.
Sold nicely by Dan Lefebvre.
Been a slow starting team, the Ticats. Just 28 first quarter points prior to this game. Medlock, big boot, and Cunningham from inside his 5. Newcomer to the Stamps lineup brings it out to around the 25-yard line. So 3 plays, 80 yards in a minute 54. And the game tied once again.
Now on the touchdown drive for Bo Levi Mitchell, not taking anything away from the Calgary offense here, but the Ticats had that penalty problem creep up again. They had 3 penalties, 2 of which were on second down when they had created a loss for the Calgary offense. So they were in second and long. The penalty put them in second and short, and it changed the drive.
And a 4th penalty that was declined. Snap over the middle. Markway McDaniel's got the catch, gets away, and McDaniel bumped out at the Hamilton 46-yard line. So the former Ticat has been tough to track already today.
Markway McDaniel all the way across the field, just layers through it and gets in front of Craig Butler, the safety. But I love the composure there from Bo Levi Mitchell. That was a low shotgun snap. Didn't bother him at all. He picked it up off the turf and found McDaniel.
McDaniel coming off his 5th career 100-yard game last week. Jabari Arthur in motion, double tight end formation. And the handoff to Charles on the sweep. Made the first man miss and is dropped at the 42 by Brian Hall, the big defensive tackle, who's become a bit of a character in the Hamilton camp. Looks like he might have been shaken up, but
well, he was the guy on the stunt where it was blocked well by Spencer Wilson. Comes across and makes the hit on Hugh Charles, and it's a big one.
Happy with their defensive tackles, Laurent, Bulkey, and Hall, who's giving Simone Lawrence a run for his money as the loudest guy on the Ticats. Second down. Bo Levi stayed in the pocket and finds McDaniel again. Another second down conversion catch. And he is 3rd in the league in that department.
Brian Hall is having some fun in the pregame warm-up and showing his dance moves off. A little bit of his trash talking, just getting things going. You're right, Simone Lawrence has his work cut out for him.
Stamps are marching again, and in the flat, there's Fuller up against Courtney Stephen. And look at those moves. First down, Jeff Fuller. 25th catch of the season for Fuller. And in 5 of the previous 6 games, at least 50 yards receiving.
Already seeing this chess match going on between 2 of the top coordinators in Canadian football. One, defensively, Orlando Steinauer. Defensively for the Hamilton Ticats, as he tries to figure out what his next move is against Dave Dickinson, who's got a good game plan early on here for the offense for the Calgary Stampeders.
First down underneath. Rob Cote's got it. Brought down around the 12.
Tremendous respect between the 2 coordinators. Steinauer, of course, played against Dave Dickinson for many years, both as a Hamilton Tiger-Cat and Toronto Argonaut. And when I talked to both of those coordinators this week, they talked about their mutual respect. Also talked about they coach like they play. More on that as the game goes on.
6 for Cote. Now at the tight end spot, 2nd and 4. Into the end zone for Fuller. And can't hang on. Good battle there in the end zone. And Fuller unable to hold on. Working against Delvin Breaux this time.
Steinauer told me that, yes, he's going to be biased because every coach will back his own guys. But he said when he watches film, he believes that Delvin Breaux is the best cover corner in the league. Says you watch the film every game and every corner, and then let me know what you think.
Paredes puts it through, and that matches the score for the 60-minute meeting between these 2 teams in July. 10-7, Calgary with the lead, and we've still got some time on the clock in this opening quarter. CFL on TSN action continues tonight. It's the Alouettes and the Rough Riders at Mosaic. Live coverage gets underway 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific here on TSN. And you can also watch on tsn.ca, TSN Go. New unis tonight for the Rough Riders.
I like the uniforms. I like the jerseys and the pants. I'm not big on the helmet. Saskatchewan helmet doesn't have a logo on the side, which, I don't know, just doesn't seem right.
They've got numbers on the front and back.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I know that's what you're looking
A little worried about
more than anything.
Toronto tomorrow. We'll see the Argos new unis tomorrow when they play host to the BC Lions. BC will have their signature jerseys.
But they do look cool, these new jerseys.
And they do it for the fans, and it's fun looking down every stadium and seeing the jersey names on the back of players that have played here, either are on the current roster, in some cases, especially in Saskatchewan, back in the 60s. Short kickoff, and here's Madu on the return. Up over the 30, so it is Moses Madu for CJ Gable, and Ken Austin was looking for a similar style running back.
You know, both of them are pretty good in all three areas of the game. You know, they can block, they can catch, they can run with the football. CJ's probably a little bit better of a blocker, you know, than Moses is, but he's, you know, Madu's a talented player. He's got really good feet, great ball skills. He protects the quarterback when we ask him to, and you know, we expect him to play at a high level.
First carry of the game for Madu, and not much up the middle. He has one catch for 11, but in Kid Austin's scheme, most important aspect is how do you protect the quarterback?
He said CJ gave a little bit better in that area, but he can do other things and use them differently. Play to his strengths, good out of the backfield, as he mentioned, catching the football, can run it well. So when he needs that protection that CJ Gable gave him when he was in the lineup, he could go with tight end, or maybe put a linebacker out there, like Eric Harris.
Yeah. They bunch on the far side of the field, 2nd and 10. Lefevre looked like he was going to go. Now delivers the football. It is intercepted. Ball picked off by Keon Raymond, who lost the football, and did the Ticats get it back? Boy, did Keon Raymond take a hit.
It's over. Let it go.
Deron Mayo says Calgary still got the football. Let's see. Second interception for the veteran Keon Raymond on the season. The other was returned for a touchdown.
Yeah, against the BC Lions, 63-yard touchdown. Ken Austin explaining that when you're rolling hard to your
Rolling on the field is a Calgary interception and down by contact. First down, Calgary.
Now this is an automatic review at the end of a turnover, so let's take a look at whether or not Raymond lost the football before he was down.
And Ken Austin explaining to Lefevre, rolling that hard to your left, try not to throw it back against the grain, especially with Charleston Hughes bearing down on you. That's the mistake made there. Keon Raymond gets the tip drill. He gets rocked here.
That's Mark Dial with the hit.
He scooped it up himself, whether it was a fumble or not.
Final play, first quarter, just inside the Hamilton 50. Mitchell ducked underneath and takes off again. Taylor Reed will contain him at the 46-yard line.
Simone Lawrence does it this time.
Yeah.
Charleston Hughes did it the first time.
So plenty of points to start this game. A much different one than their first meeting in July. After 15 minutes, it's 10-7 for the visitors. 10-7 after the first quarter at Ron Joyce Stadium, and a lot more offense than we saw the last time.
Well, the second time these two teams are facing each other, so offensively they've looked at the tendencies and made some adjustments. 10 first downs for the Calgary Stampeders jumps out at me. The Hamilton Tiger Cats are going to need to get some stops, or they're going to start getting tired being on the field that long, and the way they've done that in the past is some safety blitz from Greg Butler.
Well, it was a problem in the fourth quarter against BC, a game it looked like they might steal out on the West Coast, and they gave up 165 yards, 10 first downs in the fourth quarter of that one. So Ticats need to tighten up, but they're going against an explosive offense, the second highest scoring team in the league so far. Starting the second quarter in Hamilton territory, looking at 2nd and 8. Pressure, ball back in the air and knocked down. So this time the defense gets Bo Levi Mitchell's offense off the field.
Orlando Steinhauer, when he needs to get pressure, what does he do? He goes with safety blitz, and watch Craig Butler come down here and on that play go with the safety blitz from the middle. Here comes number 28, causing some problems and protection up front. Hugh Charles tries to get him and ball knocked down.
Like Brian Hall. Yep, it's Hall with the bat down. And Rob Maver angling that punt, and on a hop, Banks will field it and step out. So the Ticats will be pinned deep thanks to the work of Rob Maver.
You know, I agree with Milton Stiegel, who talked in the pregame show about one of the guys that they've got to get going in Hamilton is Andy Fantus. He missed the first couple of games the regular season due to injury. But top-end receiver, a guy could be a 100-yard-a-game guy and just hasn't been utilized all that much so far.
Is surprising, and we'll go a little further. Grant, Ellingson, you look at where they rank even amongst the Ticats, 5th, 6th, and 7th in receiving just in Hamilton. Well, they're top 10 league guys when they're on their game. Quarterback drive. Lefevre trying to give his team a little bit of room as he runs out past the 15, close to a first down. But look at these numbers. Now, there have been injuries, but they're way below what you'd expect.
Yeah, just shy of 1,000-yard receivers across the board, and they don't have a touchdown catch. Just the numbers just aren't there, and part of that is the guy who's throwing it. You got the quarterback has got to get the ball to them, but need more production, the Hamilton Ticats offensively.
And the longest pass play for any of those three is a 15-yard reception. Here's a quarterback action. Lefevre really took a hit, but Madew's got the first down. Sean Lemon and Lefevre. How about Lefevre gets up, gives Lemon a little tap on the back.
Well, he knows it because this is the option, and quarterback on the option is trying to pull the defensive end in Lemon towards him. And for Lemon, this is called the zap technique. You come off the edge and you make the quarterback pitch it immediately, and you zap him. Zap right there. Quarterback goes down. The pitch goes out. That's one more ice bag after the game for Lefevre.
How's the full zap? First down, though. And a pass complete to Bakari Grant. Puts it back. There you go. And a first down up at the 35. 18 catch for Bakari Grant on the season. A guy that came close to 1,000 last year, 26 yards short, and did not play the final regular season game.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about, what he's capable of. I mean, he's got that long stride, can get in behind coverage, but he can make a guy miss in the open field, break a tackle, and picked up good yardage there for another first down.
So Grant to the sidelines. Jaguar, who was the favorite target last week, and Tasker the wideouts. Lefevre has time underneath. It's Tasker the catch. Taken down by the nose tackle Johnson. 6-7 on the play for Luke Tasker.
Well, there's a couple stages offensively when you're back in your own end to start a drive. Ken Austin will tell you that said the first thing you want to do, goal number one, is to get enough room, get out of that your own end, so that if you have to, you can punt the ball away and pick up some field position. They've accomplished that. Now to step 2.
6 receivers out on second and short. Hit as he threw it. Intended for Grant. It's incomplete. Jawan Simpson with heat on the quarterback. And he and Lefevre have had discussions on a couple of occasions in this game, including during the player introductions.
Yeah, they talked. It seemed very cordial, their discussion before the game, but big hit there.
So Medlock to kick against the wind. Ball bouncing down to Cunningham, and he is being tackled at the 30-yard line. Here's the pressure from Juwan Simpson on that last incompletion. Simone Lawrence and the Ticat defense back on the field, and with more on Lawrence, let's check in with Matthew Shinetti.
Guys, last week, Simone Lawrence took full responsibility for his objectionable conduct call that he took in BC. It really exemplified some of the disciplinary issues the Ticats have had so far this season. So Simone said yesterday, listen, it's not on the coaches to be accountable, it's on the players to be accountable. So this week during practice, the Ticats made a point. Anytime a player even twitched, they would call offside and kill the play dead. But the one thing that Ken Austin also said yesterday is, maybe I'm directing my energy too much at the officials. Maybe I have to direct my energy at other places. Maybe the coach has to be the one who sets the example first when it comes to discipline. Guys?
Here's Hugh Charles scampering just under the reach of Lawrence for a first down run up at the 40-yard line.
Well, it's a good point that Ken Austin makes, that, you know, you can talk about the officials and calls that are close and questionable. And, of course, we've seen Kent Austin in the ear of the official up and down that sideline a few times. And he's thinking maybe we should just start looking in the mirror a little bit and say we can get better, play with more discipline, and what you can control, those penalties you take after the whistle.
Lawrence also reached out to Kim Murphy to apologize for a penalty called against him last week for arguing a call too loudly.
Simone Lawrence ranks third in the CFL in tackles, gets around the ball, and as I mentioned off the top, when I talked to Orlando Steinauer, their defensive coordinator, I said, just your best defensive player so far. He didn't hesitate. He said, Simone Lawrence is my best player. He's all over the place. We were going to shore up the discipline. That's going to happen because he's that type of guy. He's going to make sure it happens. But he's our best player right now on defense.
Jeff Fuller's third catch of the game gives him a first down. They contain here as Rico Murray steps up with first contact on Hugh Charles and drops him for a 2-yard loss.
Boy, the Ticats loaded the box. They got everybody on the line of scrimmage there. Craig Butler was up there. Rico Murray was up there. Simone Lawrence. You could take a look across the board. All of Hamilton Tiger Cats up on the line of scrimmage. Not many run holes there.
Here was an issue last week. 2nd and 7 or more. Hamilton allowed BC first downs on 9 of 15. Trying to stop him here with pressure, and incomplete, intended for Sinopoli. There is a flag down near the line of scrimmage. Ted Laurent without a helmet at the end of that fray.
Well, I'm wondering on a couple things. One is there's one penalty that looks like it may go against Calgary, but one over the middle. Did Rico Murray get there too soon?
Illegal block, hands to the face, Calgary number 50. That penalty's declined, third down.
Spencer Wilson. And it was a tight play on Sinopoli, but no flag.
Spencer Wilson, number 50, right here. He's working on Ted Laurent. Oh yeah, hands up into the face and knocked his helmet right off. And then Simone Lawrence comes on that blitz. He's one of the guys on the line of scrimmage up over the top. I thought Rico Murray got there a little quick, but no flag on the play on Sinopoli.
And now we're getting a challenge flag on that play. So the coach wants another look.
That's what John Huffnagel's going to challenge here. I thought Rico Murray put his arm around Brad Sinopoli. Now, I don't know. I couldn't see live.
Calgary is ruling that defensive pass interference was on the play. We will review the play.
Crossing right from Brad Sinopoli. Thought Rico Murray got there a little early. In fact, he got up looking a little guilty. You're going to see it from the left of your screen here as we slow it down. Now, as he comes across, see the right hand around Sinopoli's waist. And it was there early. Again, you're allowed to ride the receiver with that hand on the waist. You can't twist him as the ball is arriving or before the ball gets there. So That's what the command center will have to determine on that play. And that's really our only angle on that crossing route.
Saw an unsuccessful challenge last night in the end zone.
Let's take a look at it at regular speed to see if can see Sinopoli if he gets turned or twisted here.
You've often mentioned that twist. It looks like Sinopoli's body is twisted.
After review, there is insufficient evidence to rule defensive pass interference. The ruling on the field stands. It is third down.
Even some high-profile Hamilton fans below us, I think, were anticipating a penalty call there. But
well, and I think, you know, in fairness, John Huffnagel may have got that call and won the challenge had there been more angles. A little bit challenging here at McMaster for that, but that's the one we had.
Rob Maver angling another punt down inside the 10. Brandon Banks finally scoops it up. It'll be a 5 yards, no yards, but once again the Ticats backed up here when they get set to go on offense. Simone Lawrence and the Ticat defense with a stop that time. He's now a reality. Go to tsn.ca/CFL Fantasy and set your roster for a chance to win a trip to the 102nd Grey Cup and a Joseph Baboon suit from Moores. Every pick counts. Make yours today. Long field for Dan Lefevre as the Ticats start just beyond their 11-yard line. 5 receivers in motion to the wide side of the field, and Brandon Banks has room, and Jamar Wall pulled off a block to toss him out of bounds.
Like Dan Lefevre had to throw it over a defensive end to get this ball to Banks. A couple times they've run this play, the wide receiver hit screen, little bubble screen to him, and yeah, defensive end or linebacker in the line of fire. He threw it over him, kind of lobbed it into Banks. He did the rest. That was Lemon.
So 19 on the play, and a first down. Fake pitch and back the other way. There's Andy Van Toos with a first down. Bumped out of bounds at the Ticat bench.
All of a sudden, Dan Lefevre looks a little bit like the point guard, just kind of distributing the football, dumps it over to Banks, and then on that one, you got pressure again. When he came out of that play action with Van Toos coming across the formation, now he has to go up over Charleston Hughes, dump it down to his slot back, who picks up another first and gets him out of that hole.
Veteran Van Toos played his 100th CFL game last week. Back-to-back first downs, and now the pitch to Madu. And Moses Madu lunging. Jawan Simpson brings him down, but good first down production for Madu. Close to 9.
Looks like Sean Lemon for the Stamps. The backside is still down.
This week without Corey Mace at defensive tackle. Seen Lemon make a couple plays already in this game, including a quarterback sack. And if Sean Lemon is out for an extended period of time, a Hamilton native, a McMaster graduate, Ben DeAguilar, might see some time on the defensive line, mostly special teams.
Home game for him, for DeAguilar.
Lemon to his feet. And under his own steam, headed to the sidelines. You
see 40, he's right in the middle of your screen. Let's take a look. It's Gets a crack there from outside in.
Bakari Grant, who is a terrific blocker. Like he winded Lemon.
He wanted a crack call. He heard that as he came to the bench. Talking to the linebackers and DBs. Got to give him that crack call.
Second and short, and the plunge is going to be close to a first down.
Well, and that's interesting, sort of behind the curtain thing for defenses, because when a defensive end gets the crack, basically that's a slot back coming from outside in, disguising it, and then putting an ear hole shot on a defensive end. The DBs have absolutely got to call that crack call. If you don't, you're going to be in an all-out fist fight with your defensive end as a DB if you don't turn around and call that crack. So you saw Sean Lemon head to the sideline on that last one saying, hey guys, don't forget to give me a crack call.
Freddie Bishop has come into the game in place of Lemon. It is a first down for the Ticats, who have marched their way close to midfield from a deep start here midway through the second quarter.
I didn't give Bobby Jurison a crack call one time. Only once. One time.
Near the Ticat 54. Big pitch back the other way. There's Bakari Grant. And Dwan Simpson will make the tackle at the Stamp 54-yard line. Just a couple for number 84.
Yeah, real positive drive for Hamilton here. Remember, this started inside their own 10-yard line. Got all that field position back no matter how the drive ends now.
Now they go no huddle. Grant standing in the backfield to help protect. And the pass is to Banks. Has to make a man miss. And Wall will tackle him down. A shirt collar tackle that will leave Hamilton about a yard short.
Good tackle between Jamar Wall there and Fred Bennett, and they're just going to bracket Banks on the sideline. All he needed was 2 more yards here for the first down to keep the drive going, but you can see Wall has the outside. Bennett comes from inside out. Wall hangs on because Banks has nowhere to go.
3rd and a yard, and the big boys come onto the field.
Ken Austin is more confident with this type of play on a 3rd down and basically gamble when he's got Dan Lefebvre, the running quarterback.
The last plunge was not much. Let's see if he's got it. He does reach out, and ball came loose on the reach. Calgary says they have the football, but looks like they'd stop play and are moving the chains.
Gave the forward progress.
So it's a first down at the Stampeder 46.
I just think Ken Austin's got to have that confidence with Lefebvre able to run as well as he does.
There's Brandon Smith taking the ball, saying thank you, but play had been stopped, and the Ticats continue to move. Banks in motion over the middle. Catch is made. Big hit by Brandon Smith, but Ellingson hangs on.
A lot of misdirection in this drive for Ken Austin, this offense. One back going one way with the slot back across the formation going out the other side. And it's been successful to first of all get him out of the hole and now get into plus territory. And an injured Calgary Stampeder looks like Brandon Smith down.
7-year vet. Glue guy in that Calgary secondary.
A few years back, the nominee for outstanding defensive player. Just looked like he went down kind of awkwardly with his hand underneath Ellingson here on the tackle.
So a tough series for the Calgary defense. First Lemon off, and now Brandon Smith. And Rich Stubler has some adjusting to make, although Lemon's back into the game now. and now it's the secondary he'll have to tweak.
Boy, this defense been outstanding under Rich Stuber, though. Lead the league in points allowed, giving up less than 20 points per game. 15.7 points per game. Canadian football is outstanding, and then also the #1 team against the run.
4 times they've held teams to under 300 net yards. Lynn J. Shell comes into the game. He takes the spot of Smith, so a veteran in, and as you can see, Lemon back. 2nd and 4. 4 receivers wide side. Quick hitter. Jaguar can't bring it down in front of Fred Bennett. And the drive has stalled.
A ball put right where it had to be. Jaguar, who was the leading receiver last week for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, in fact, leading receiver in the CFL.
Well, decision here because they're at the 40. Be a 47-yard field goal into the wind. And it took a while to decide what they were going to do, and they are now changing. And
yep.
They're going to have time. The time hasn't been blown in yet. They're going to try it. Doesn't look too bad there. It has been gusting a bit, but
oh, it's significant.
You don't think something's on here, do you? 3rd and 4. And Medlock, longest is 42. They're going to kick away, and this is not a chance. And Cunningham on the return. And he'll be tripped up at the 28-yard line. Tackle on the play, but not close on that 47-yard miss by Medlock. Things have to be perfect to hit a 47-yarder into the wind, and things weren't perfect on that last hold.
No, Tasker had the lace in the wrong area. It's a holder on the play, and watch how he has the lace away there and spins it right at 6 o'clock for Medlock, which means that he put his foot right on that lace and took a little bit of the push off the football.
Gary Koch, the holder last week. Of course, Tasker had trouble with the hold. Game in July that cost them the tying field goal late. Here's a pass, and it's caught by Joe West. He got in behind. Big play. Bo Levi Mitchell to Joe West. Dropped down at the 6-yard line. It's a 74-yard completion.
Joe West is going to run a little out and up down the sideline, and all it was is a bit of a timing play. Bo Levi Mitchell needed the time to throw it, but West is going to run down the field here. He's going to run a little out move and then straight down the sideline and is wide open in behind coverage. And what a throw by Bo Levi Mitchell. Hits him in stride. I mean, he doesn't even have to break stride here. Catches it right in his hands and away it goes.
More yards on that play than he's had in the season, coming in with 4 catches and 49 yards. He was held without a grab last week against Ottawa, but a big play here to set them up 1st and goal. To the pass for Fuller. Touchdown, Calgary. Jeff Fuller has his 5th touchdown grab of the season, and the Stamps expand their lead.
Just like that. 2 throws later, Calgary in the end zone.
Rico Murray there defensively, but Fuller has the touchdown. First points of the 2nd quarter. Now you go back and think about the missed field goal, and
the decision to do that. Although that play to Joe Fuller, or excuse me, Joe West. Play to Joe West happens anyway.
Could be anywhere on the field, but
absolutely.
It is a 10-point lead for Calgary as Fuller's 4th catch of the game and 5th touchdown of the season expands the lead after the big play by West. Jeff Fuller with a Bo Levi Mitchell touchdown pass to extend the Calgary lead.
Yeah, Fuller just takes advantage of a little pick here and gets outside of it with Rico Murray and Chase. Can't get there in time. Went back and took a look at the Joe West deep ball. would cover 3 deep zone by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Shouldn't give up long passes like that in a 3 deep zone, although it was a stumble by one Ticat. And away they go. Courtney Stephen fell down.
Paredes the boot, and here's Brandon Banks. Dangerous all season long, and a good return up to the 40-yard line.
Let's go back and show you that deep ball by Joe West to set up the Calgary touchdown in the 3 deep zone that Hamilton was in. Here you go. West is out here. And follow him, but I'll show you the 3 deep zone from Hamilton as it develops here. So if you stop there, guys, here's 1, 2, 3 deep in coverage. So you shouldn't be susceptible to the deep ball. You've got guys back there to take care of that deep ball, but Courtney Stevens at the top of your screen stumbles, doesn't get enough depth, and Joe West goes right by him.
Ticats have picked up a little momentum on offense on the last series, and they start with a first down grab by Greg Ellingson, bumped out by Deron Mayo. Weak side linebacker Ellingson a catch and 14 yards for the Austin offense near midfield.
Yeah, they have been moving the ball quite well with that. A lot of that misdirection, getting it out of their own end. They haven't, once they get in positive territory, that's when these drives have stalled.
First down and pass underneath was looking for Tasker. Well covered on the play. Brandon Smith back into the game.
I love this matchup. Tasker, just a little press coverage here from Smith that doesn't grab right there where the ball has to be absolutely perfect, and even then, tough catch for Tasker.
Lefevre with 171 passing yards, 7 fewer than Bo Levi Mitchell. They've each thrown for a touchdown in the game. Lefevre with an interception on his resume today. In trouble here, escapes. Flag comes down, he throws it. Another flag down. I believe he was over the line of scrimmage, so a couple of penalties, both likely against the Ticats on that last play.
Yards gain was first down, so the Calgary Stampeders will take one of these if both are against Hamilton.
And have an injured Stampeder down as well. It looks like Micah Johnson gets attention.
Illegal forward pass, quarterback over the line of scrimmage, Hamilton, number 13. That penalty's declined. Holding, Hamilton, number 63. 10-yard penalty. That penalty's accepted. Repeat the down.
It's Mark Dial, the right tackle, called. First start of the year for Dial. First start since last year's Eastern Final.
Yeah, we didn't have to show you Dan Lefevre over the line. He was about 2 yards over. Mark Dial gets the holding call, so Calgary takes that one because yards gained would have meant the first down. Hamilton will go 2nd and 20.
Big Micah Johnson helped to his feet, had a monster game against the Ticats in Calgary. 7 tackles and a sack. And you worry about the knee. He suffered a knee injury last year. The final regular season game, what was really a meaningless game against the BC Lions, and was unavailable for the Western Final. So Freddie Bishop comes back in. Bishop could play inside or at defensive end, and this time he'll take Johnson's spot at the nose. 2nd and a bunch, and Calgary will show a 4-man front with Junior Turner also in. They send 3. Lefevre finds Tasker, but he was picked up well and ridden out by the veteran Keon Raymond. Jawan Simpson there as well. So 3rd down, and Simpson's been chatting with everybody, as he often does. Medlock the boot. Cedric Cunningham from his 15 gets through the first wave, and gets up to the 30-yard line before he's brought down by Plessius. Well, before Penguin, Catwoman, and Batman, there was Gotham. Witness the origins of the infamous city that gave birth to the greatest supervillains and darkest vigilante. Gotham, Mondays this fall on CTV.
So that's the prequel to the Batman deal. Keontae Tripp on the roster to get a little more pressure off the edge.
Brandon Boudreau first sack, and now Eric Norwood as they look for more production at defensive end. First down fake to Charles into the hands of McDaniel, well read and brought down right at the line of scrimmage.
Now before the game started, one of Batman's nemesis was Bane. And Keontae Tripp is using a high altitude training system that is supposed to help with your oxygen capacity. But he reminded me of the villain, Bane. Wow. From Batman.
Well, that's research. Was Bane ever all pro? Second and long. Mitchell throws into the flat. Complete. And Joe West gets to the first down stick.
One of the best villains in the Batman series was Bane. Take a look at Keontae Tripp and see how his Batman, well, he got close, getting closer. I think he's got a new nickname.
And I thought Shinetti was our resident Batman expert.
He is one of the coolest superheroes out there.
Not Joe West. Get it, but it's going to be third down and inches. Big Ted Laurent checks back in for an anticipated third down sneak. So they have to get beyond the 40 to get a first down with 1:35 to go in this first half. Well, it wasn't third and inches, but a little surprising to see Chris Jones gamble last night in the fourth quarter in field goal range, trailing, and Pat White stopped on that one. Eskimo found away, and we'll move the chains here with Drew Tate at the controls.
Yeah, you always wonder about those decisions. Ken Austin had a similar decision to make here, and about the 40-yard line going in when he decided not to try a long field goal, 47-yarder, instead of going on 3rd and 3 or punting on 3rd and 3. 3 plays later, Calgary's in the end zone.
First down, 41-yard line, and there's Anthony Parker, the catch. He's ridden out, short gain. Did want to mention that 55-yarder, or the longer play to Joe West, the 74-yarder. That was the first completion of over 30 yards by the Stampeders since week 2,
Yeah.
which surprised me considering how well Bo Levi Mitchell's played, but it's really been a short passing game that's been key to their success.
Yeah, well, and they don't have Maurice Price in the lineup. He's been one of their deep threats, but Joe West and Jeff Fuller can both get behind cover.
Just the 6th pass of over 30 yards this season, and we get a challenge from the Ticat bench on that last play. You're getting a reverse angle from us, and that last play was at the far side of the field, and hard to see. Ken Austin might have seen that ball pop loose.
Hamilton is challenging the ruling of a completed pass on the play. We will review the play.
Take a look.
It looked like he had control. I didn't see the ball bounce off the turf or anything like that.
So is the ball being juggled? Had it pinned on his hip. But is he saying that juggle here as he's out is not controlled?
I don't see it. I mean, I think Parker has it here, and now he's got control of the ball on his hip. He's got both feet have touched inbounds a couple of times, and then run out of bounds as he moves it to the opposite hip. It was actually fumbled out of bounds. Completion then stripped out when he went down out of bounds. I don't see how they overturn that. Whoa, and a good straight arm.
Ruling on the field is confirmed. It's a completed pass.
Stephanie with the Heisman.
Nice.
Impressive.
Stephanie, here you go. This is into your sideline. 5'3", Stephanie taking on the
Took both of them down.
Yep.
So the catch is for 4. It's 2nd and 6. And from the pocket, completion. Full Levi Mitchell to West. Close to another first down. Right at the necessary yardage. And they do move the chains.
Precision on that play.
And they go no huddle after the reception. At the 51. Here comes pressure. He gets it away deep. And the pass is incomplete. Trying to hook up long distance again with Joe West. This time the pressure was on Bo Levi Mitchell.
Yeah, the pressure was on, so not quite as accurate on the throw was Bo Levi Mitchell. Also different type of coverage this time for Hamilton. They're in man-to-man, and Courtney Stephen just going to play this straight man as Mitchell throws it. Simone Lawrence bearing down on him.
So 2nd and 10. As we enter the final minute, first half, more pressure coming. Craig Butler on the blitz. Sinopoli the catch, and he's punished right at the line of scrimmage. Sinopoli gets up. It's the Ticats that look like a couple of them got shaken up in the collision.
Well, Michael Coe is down.
one.
Yeah, and he was added to the roster just before the deadline, an hour before kickoff. Emmanuel Davis hurt himself in practice this week, the starting halfback, so he was a late add, and he's slow to get up.
And Antonio Coleman, the defensive end, so those two met at the receiver, and they got the worst of the collision. Concern on the field for Coleman.
Goes in behind there and twists him. To tell what Coleman, I thought initially that he had maybe got his hand caught in between the helmets, but that doesn't look like it happened.
Like he may have jammed his neck, the helmet on the back of Sinopoli. It's amazing Sinopoli bounced up as quickly as he did. And we're getting word from Matthew Shinetti that he is moving his legs, and there you can see that there is some movement here. Defensive end out of Auburn. And now Steinauer out to see firsthand.
First step while they are Just checking him out and talking to him as to stabilize everything. So he's not moving around at all, and then go through the steps. But as you mentioned, Chris, there's the movement again, his legs and everything. That's good to see. Arms and legs moving around.
In good hands under the care of Carly Vandergrant, and while they continue to attend to Coleman, will step out. Good to see Antonio Coleman get to the sidelines under his own power as he continues to get looked over. All SEC in 08 and 09, a 2-year stay with the Buffalo Bills, and go through the precautions with him on the sidelines as Maver boots it away with the wind at his back. Flagged down by Banks at the 6. Brandon Banks to the sidelines. And a flag comes down as he gets bounced out at the 26. 43.5 seconds for Dan Lefevre in the offense. And the question, where will they start? They've had some deep starts in this first half.
Craig Butler is just talking to the officials, maybe arguing with the officials. It looks like they're going to get pushed back.
There's no infraction on the play. First down.
A little huddle there from the officials, and they looks like Craig Butler won his discussion with them.
Boy, that doesn't happen very often.
Doesn't happen ever.
And that might affect how Ken Austin approaches this 43 seconds worth. Decent field position, or better at the 26 than what might have been inside their 10. Handed off to Manu. First down. And that opens up the options at the 41. A first down for the Ticats.
Now they go into hurry up.
And very shortly we'll get into the hurry up and go to at the half with Rod the Guys and the GMC Coaches Playbook with Paul Police. There's a catch for Pantouz at midfield. And just under a half minute to go. Quickly they are moving the offense, and now within about 10-15 yards of getting into field goal range.
Boy, Pantouz came back to the ball nicely on that last one.
Remember, Medlock missed from 47. Going for Pantouz again, and it's batted down. As that pass was in traffic. 3 Stampeders around the intended target.
Yes, and a fourth looking for the tip as he was coming in late. I think it was Juwan Simpson, but there's a lot of attention after that first catch from Pantouz. He draws 3 Stampeders with a fourth right there. Looking for a tip ball.
So 2nd and 10. Need about 15 to get into Medlock range. Has time. Pass almost picked off. Going for Pantouz again, and Keon Raymond in the neighborhood.
Wow, and Raymond, he made the conscious decision to knock this down. I mean, he just realized that 3rd and too long for the field goal. He picks this ball off, gets both hands on it. He scores again. Stumble from Pantouz there, but Raymond had a crack at it.
Had a return touchdown earlier this year and had one in the snow against the Ticats back at McMahon in 2012. Cunningham from his 6. Good contained downfield by the cover team. And we'll have time for one more play in this first half for the Calgary offense.
Now comes down to that chess match I talked about early on. Dave Dickinson and Orlando Steinauer, I think, is such an interesting matchup. Bo Levi Mitchell got that deep ball to Joe West. That's really the difference in the score. So Steinauer knows he's got to shore up that cover 3, make sure he doesn't give up anything deep again, and make Dickinson work his way down the field with Mitchell and that offense. Not a lot of Hugh Charles in the first half. They're 7th back in Calgary, and Madew's looked pretty good.
So they'll burn off the final 3 seconds, and that will do it for the opening half. Calgary led 10-7 after 1 quarter. They had a touchdown here in the second and lead 17-7 at the half at Ron Joyce Stadium as we check in with Rod Smith and our panel.
All right, Chris, so it's Calgary up by 10. Stampeders couldn't get much separation from the Ticats in their first meeting 4 weeks ago, but different story this time around. Back with the panel of Milt Stiegel, Matt Dunnigan, and Chris Schultz, and a 10-point lead for the Calgary Stampeders. And Bo Levi Mitchell seems to be looking like more the seasoned vet, Matty. Every time he plays a game, poised not only with the arm, his numbers 14 of 19 for 202, throwing for a touchdown, also running for a touchdown, 3 carries, 28 yards.
Yeah, I think that last point you made there about his running the football, I think is critical for him having success against the Hamilton Ticats. You know, even the win last week, he didn't look that good. And he's been a little haphazard so far this season, you know, up and down. But I think the running has opened him up and settled him down and put extra pressure on the Hamilton defense. Pressure that they haven't been able to put on Bo Levi. He's heard Glenn Suter talk about late in the half that they pressured him and he wasn't as accurate. I think they got to do that more in the second half because this kid he's settled down and is simply throwing darts out there, picking apart the Hamilton defense when he has time. You can't let him have this type of time because he's too accurate and he's in rhythm and he's throwing with timing. And I think that all started from using his legs. He might have been watching a little Mike Riley last night and he says, you know what you can do, I can do better.
Maybe picking apart that Hamilton defense, Milt, that you had a lot of praise for before the game. Starting to change your mind?
I think so. I've changed my mind, actually, based on that first half. And I talked about, I didn't think that Hamilton defense was that bad. And it was based on, you know, their offense need to pick it up. They need to stay on the field a little bit longer. And their offense has done their job, but this Hamilton defense is just bad. I mean, they can't cover. They can't get after the quarterback. They can't stop the run. They can't do anything right now. These Calgary Stampeders, they're on pace for over 500 total yards. They can't get it done. Hamilton has to come out and do something. Now what happens? Calgary has that 17-7 lead. They always have that halftime lead. They just eventually ride it out. So Hamilton, they just can't get it done. I'm done, Schultz. I'm done.
You done?
I'm done.
Offensively,
Still another half, you know.
Offensively for the Hamilton Ticats, when you look at the last 4 games, I remember the game in Ottawa. It seems so long ago. A really good game for their offense, good game for Dan Lefevre. Really regressed in the Winnipeg game, came back, played really well in the BC game. This one right now is somewhere in between. Big issue to me was their inability to protect the passer and Dan Lefevre early. There is absolutely, positively no way Sean Lemon should be unblocked coming off the corner and be able to tackle the quarterback with such a level of freedom. Now, we're all human beings, and when you see another guy coming off you from the left-hand side early in the game, you lose a little bit of confidence in terms of the structure and the people you're with. They got to bounce back. They got to give them some time. If they do, Hamilton can get back in this game. If they don't,
well, still,
I'm not saying anything.
If they don't, we'll let you finish that if later on.
You're done too.
30 more minutes, still another half. But the second part of the doubleheader, the second half of our
Across the board here is pretty even, right down the line, you know. But what you don't see is this: that's 6 penalties for 35 for Hamilton, 2 for 5 yards. 3 of those penalties came on a drive that Calgary scored on. That's the difference in your ball game.
Joe West had a big reception to set up Calgary's second touchdown. Here he is with Matthew Schnetti.
Joe, how good of a chemistry is it becoming between Bo and all the receivers?
It's becoming great. Every day, you know, we take advantage of our reps in practice, and, you know, we work even after practice, and just catching balls and getting that chemistry, it's working out really well for us.
What kind of adjustments are you going to have to make? What are you noticing from this secondary of the Ticats?
You know, they're good defense, and they're patient. Those guys, they trust their technique. We just got to trust ours and just keep attacking them.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
And a message from the Ottawa Redblacks, who really want Brent Wallace to show up at their next game. He's only been to 1, and they have won that game. In case you missed it earlier, we talked about that. Here he is now, and I understand you want to talk about taking a closer look at an aspect of the Ticats and the Stampeders and what is right now a 10-point Calgary lead with that second half kickoff coming up soon. Stick around. And back with the coach, Paul Appelese, and the GMC Coaches Playbook. I want to look at one of the terms we always hear. People might want to know a little bit more about, like, loading up the box. But we're not talking about the concession stand at the half either, are we?
No, it's a term you hear all the time. And what does that mean? It's talking about what Hamilton did in the second quarter after they gave up the 2 quick touchdowns. They started loading the box, putting extra people at the line of scrimmage to help stop the run. Take a look. There's your 6 interior players, the 4 down linemen and the linebackers. Watch it. They bring Butler up over here to add in to try to stop the run. What does Calgary do? They add a guy to the box. They say, well, you're not going to let you add in. We're going to handle it on this side. So now you see the pullers. You've got the center pulling and the backside tackle trying to show its run to the left. Well, the end's unblocked, so McDaniel's got to come in. He now adds into the box. Well, when he adds to the box, here comes another guy. Rico Murray has to add in. It's a misdirection play, it looks like, where Hugh Charles is going to spill out the other end. Well, they know Rico Murray's adding, so Calgary added Sinopoli in. Sinopoli adds in. Here's the last Hamilton guy to come in, and he's in a position to make the play, and that's what happens between him and Rico Murray. So as an offensive coach, you're always trying to, it's hard. You get outnumbered in the box at times, and then you try to add somebody, and they add, and it's just a never-ending story. It just keeps going and going. It's hard. You'll have 12 guys in there before you know it.
Matty was saying he really likes what Bo Levi Mitchell has been doing in this half this season. There are some things about the Ticat offense you like what you're seeing here.
Yeah, I like the fact that Brad Sinopoli, he has a couple of downfield throws, but a lot of times they give quick screens out to Banks, out to the receivers, to give them quick, easy percentages.
For Dan Lefevre.
For Lefevre, yeah. It gives him quick throws where he can get the ball out of his hands quickly, get into the playmaker's hands, let him run with it.
Okay, so the Ticats, they need a little help from the offense coming up in the second half. They did have a surprise one to linebacker Eric Harris, Dan Lefevre, needing more completion, needing more time on that field against this guy, Bo Levi Mitchell. Good first half and a 10-point Calgary lead. Second half kickoff coming up.
And for the second half at Ron Joy Stadium, let's go down to the sidelines. Matthew Shinnitti is with Brian Bulkey.
Brian, how do you get more pressure on Bo Levi Mitchell?
You know what? It's us inside. We got to convert that pressure to some sacks, and that's what we're going to bring in the second half.
How good did you feel about the discipline, particularly at the latter half of that first half?
Yeah, we finally got together, started playing as a D, and you're going to see the exact same defense coming out right now.
Thanks, Brian.
Appreciate it.
Discipline better. Hamilton Tiger Cats, 6 penalties for 35 yards in the first. There were 3 in that opening drive that ended up in a Calgary score, but only 2 penalties for 5 yards for the Calgary Stampeders. Better in that department.
Numbers pretty similar between the offenses of Hamilton and Dan Lefevre's offense versus Bo Levi Mitchell's, and yet it's the visitors with the 10-point lead.
Well, you got guys that can make the adjustments. I mean, think of the quarterback experience and the coaching staffs between these two teams. I think Bo Levi Mitchell, he gets to work with former quarterback in John Huffnagel, but also Dave Dickinson. And so whether it means adjustments or just handling the pressure of the quarterback position, Huffnagel has great experience in that regard, and so does Dave Dickinson. So there's 2 for the Calgary Stampeders. Then you think the Hamilton Tiger Cats with Lefevre or whichever quarterback plays in Hamilton. Of course, Kent Austin, guy threw for over 5,000 yards a few times in his career, and 1 year over 6,000.
Justin Medlock scrambling over at the bench to get his tee, and he'll kick it off to start this second half. And we've been told that Antonio Coleman is out for the rest of the game with the neck injury that we saw sustained late in that first half. So Cedric Cunningham is back, and Calgary will get their hands on the football first here in the third quarter. Out beyond the 30, and a good return by Cunningham to the 37. Let's check the team leaders through the first half of play.
A big play by Bo Levi Mitchell to Joe West. A lot of those, over 70 of the 202 yards passing for him. Nice catch by West down the sideline. Wondered about Hugh Charles coming in. Had just 6 carries, no catches in that first half for 36 yards on the carries, which is about the same amount of touches for Moses Madu for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, their tailback in his first start.
Charles didn't have a catch in Saskatchewan. He is a pretty good receiver. In fact, a couple of years ago, 32 catches over 500 yards. With the Eskimos, Brian Bulkey's revved up about something here.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders look like they
Stampeders short a man? They load up here and a handoff to Charles inside, and not much there.
And Bo Levi Mitchell just decided to call a running play. I believe they were a man short or had the wrong personnel grouping in.
They just sent 4 in. Let's see how many.
2 have gone out, 3 are going out.
Yep.
So they were short a man on that last play. And Bo Levi Mitchell is saying, wait a minute, let's see, count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 11. Hey, I counted myself.
Yep.
Formation problem. So they go ahead and run a running play for half a yard with 1 man short.
The 2nd and 9 looking for a 2-and-outer. Hamilton flagged down and a catch made by Sherman Ocampo, the former Ticat, with a grab.
Flag down.
Well, let's find out what the flag's all about. Be a big 2nd down conversion catch for the former Tiger Cat.
Offside, Calgary, number 87. 5-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
But he was offside. So it'll be 2nd down and 14.
Boy, that seems to happen quite often when a young receiver is the primary target, and he's the guy who he knows he's going to be the #1 target, and he jumps the gun because he's so excited about the chance to get that first catch.
Saw it last week in the Ottawa-Calgary game with Dexter McDonnell. Had his number called. Fake to Charles, and there's Campbell again, and he's going to convert. Well, he atoned for the mistake, and he's up at midfield.
Good for him. Made up for it. And good on Bo Levi Mitchell. Go right back to him. Took a first down off the board. No big deal. Gonna need you again. Call your number one more time on this little play action. You go get the first down for me, and he does that.
Mitchell under pressure, got to throw that away. Does that make the line of scrimmage? I don't believe it did. We haven't seen a flag yet.
And no receiver
in the area, and still no flag. Now the officials are going to confirm. And now the flag is thrown.
Now Mitchell's going over there to argue that there was a guy in the vicinity. I don't think he was close enough, and the ball definitely bounced behind the line of scrimmage.
Intentional grounding, Calgary, number 19.
Well, clearly didn't make the line of scrimmage. Was there somebody in the area?
This will be 2nd down.
Stop it there. There's your closest receiver. There's the ball.
Yeah.
Don't think so.
So 2nd and 25. Just converted on 2nd and 14. And they'll go back to Sherman Ocampo, and this time not going anywhere.
One of those manage the situation plays. Exactly what that is, just to try and get positive yards. You know you're going to kick it away basically here. And your defense back on the field and live to play another day. And get into 2nd and 25 and try and force it in those situations. That's when you turn it over. So that's manage the issue and move on for Calgary. He hasn't broken loose tonight.
Awaiting at the Ticat 30 is Brandon Banks. Neighbor booting it away from him. And he scoops that up on the hop at the 35-yard line. So Dan Lefevre gets set to go to work. Calgary defense has been tenacious against Lefevre so far this afternoon. Officials conferring long after Brandon Banks stepped out of bounds. There was a little confrontation between Dave Caldwell of the Ticats and somebody on the Stampeders, and there was a suggestion.
Objectional conduct, Hamilton, number 42. It's a 10-yard penalty. It will be 1st and 20.
So Caldwell wanted a penalty, I believe, at the end of the play and didn't get one.
And he got called a penalty against him because of talking to the official or yelling at him, and those are the exact penalties that Ken Austin was trying to avoid.
It will be 1st and 10.
So the Ticats will start at their 24, and it seems to be a familiar refrain in this game. A lot of deep starts for Dan Lefevre, who has moved the chains between this and about the Calgary 40-yard line. He's got Tasker here in front of Jamar Wall, and a completion up beyond the 30 as we check the leaders for the Ticats through 30 minutes.
Dan Lefevre threw for 194. He had 4 carries for 27 yards. Remember, this is the quarterback that's had 200-yard games. First time that's happened in the CFL, by the way, since 2002 when Elon Green did it in Saskatchewan. Big play to the linebacker, Eric Harris, for that long throw as he lined up as a tight end. And there's Madhu's touches. 5 carries, but he always had 1 catch for 11 yards.
Dan Lefevre will carry here and has the first down. Last quarterback to have 3 100-yard rushing games in the same year was former Ticat Chuck Geely, who did it back in 1973.
It's a challenge for Rich Stubler, defense coordinator for the Stamps, and this is the best run defense in the CFL at this point, giving up less than 80 yards a game. So far being able to contain Dan Lefevre, understand that he is a running quarterback, a couple of 100-yard games we talked about. Limit his production is the goal for Calgary.
Look out, pressure on, avoids the first, and now takes off. And weaves his way to the 40 and gets 3 tough yards.
Rich Stubler's at it again, isn't he? Patrolling that sideline, defensive coordinator. Points allowed 1, rush yards 1, touchdowns allowed, first in the league. Get teams in second and long when you're good against the run. And second and long plays to the hands of the defense.
I've just sent in Lynn J. Shell as an extra DB. Freddie Bishop to the sidelines.
60.
2nd and 7. More pressure. Lefevre hit, got it away, and Bakari Grant the first down. Wrestled to the turf by Fred Bennett at the 53-yard line.
Boy, Dan Lefevre had to shake off a big one there. In fact, he couldn't even follow through on this throw. He had a couple of Stampeders right in his face. Keon Raymond tries to come on the blitz and has to kind of dance around Ellingson, but it's Juwan Simpson. Just floors Dan Lefevre as he's trying to throw it. That was half follow through.
So they moved it up around midfield. Quarterback option again. He gets sacked again, but Moses Madhu, what a hit, and he drops the football. Calgary gets on it, and Madhu was punished there.
Josh Bell from the safety spot came downhill and ran right through Moses Madhu.
This is as ferocious as it gets.
And led with the shoulder, not the head.
So Madhu turns it over. On a vicious hit. And Calgary has another takeaway.
I think that gets people pumped up. In fact, they'll drink to that.
Hello, baby. Yes, sir. Hello, boy. I'm talking about a I smacked it. It was smacked. I thought it was Sam. I'm Sam.
Good to see Madhu get up from that and get to the sidelines. Calgary takes over. And now pressure here from Hamilton, and it's bumped outside by Charles. Through a crease and using that speed all the way down to the Ticat 39-yard line.
Well, the way in the first half, after we got past that first couple of series, the Hamilton Tiger-Cats were trying to counter this first down run production, was to get the safety, Craig Butler, to come down into the box. You talked, Paul Lees talked about it at halftime, that the Hamilton Tiger Cats were loading the box to stop the run, bringing guys down on that run blitz type of look. And Hugh Charles, all he has to do is bounce outside of that and you get a big play, and he does.
27 on the carry, 64 yards for Hugh Charles in the game, and the pass underneath is complete to Fuller, and Fuller's been shaken up.
Greg Butler came over the top, much like Josh Bell did for the Calgary Stampeders at safety.
Go team! Go team! Go team!
Look, they're looking at that left shoulder. Fuller running a post route here. And he had that left arm extended when Butler hit him and landed on him. It might have popped that shoulder.
5th catch, he has a touchdown of the game. Tough to see a young receiver who looks like he's got potential star potential, but an injury takes him to the sidelines, and it just doesn't seem to end for the Stampeders. Running backs,
well,
Maurice Price.
Yeah, Maurice Price, they say he's not quite there yet. Matt Walter maybe next week.
Nick Lewis has not been 100%, although getting closer. And there's a drop for Charbonneau Campo. Pass on the money, but unable to squeeze it. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Campo took a peek there. They take a look at Jeff Fuller on the sideline. Definitely looking at that left shoulder. And of course, having to go with an American running back is one of the reasons, or the reason, Nick Lewis isn't on the roster.
2nd and 10. And Mitchell in trouble. He is dropped back at the 34-yard line. Brian Hall or Ted LeBlanc with first contact. And Arnaud Gascon-Nadon finishes him off.
Nadon is going to finish him off, but you're right. It was Laurent who gets there and spins. Mo Levi Mitchell around again, loading the box. The Hamilton Tiger Cats this time on 2nd down. Passed him off to his teammate.
So Rene Paredes in, attempting a 39-yarder. And Paredes puts it through, so they get 3 off the Badou fumble. They expand the lead to 13. Our sack tallies brought to you by Pure Later, tackling hunger across Canada. Check.
Hamilton Tiger Cats got to get back in the game in this category. In fact, when I talked to their defensive corner, Orlando Steinauer, this week, he called the sacks perlators. He said, we need to get some more perlators.
So you're saying they're hungry?
Yeah, that's why they brought in Keontae Tripp, and they said, you know, we're going to change it up a little bit, see if we can get some more pressure, harden the edge, and get some more perlators.
Just 2-1 in that department. Calgary with the edge, and here's Brandon Banks up to the 35-yard line. It will be Ticat football there. When we come back, Ticat offense has to deal with Charleston Hughes. Sack in every game this year so far, but not this afternoon.
Yeah, you take a look, a sack every game in 6 this year. Go back to last year, it's 8 in the last 9 games. And of course, in 16 games in 13, he had 18 sacks. So he's about a sack per game guy.
3 points off the Badou fumble for Hamilton, or for Calgary, and Hamilton has to answer back. Banks a catch, and we'll watch 39 on this series, looking for that sack and the good feeling that goes with it.
The minute you hit that quarterback and hit him hard as you can legally, and the crowd goes wild, and you know the whole stadium in McMahon Stadium is yelling Hughes. So I mean, it's a rush, man. It's a rush every time.
Brandon Banks on a good run. He's not going to hear Hughes today.
No.
And Ron Joyce.
But we wanted to have the Calgary fans hear that, and they're not watching when they're at McMahon, so they get to hear that Hughes, Charleston Hughes is saying thank you to the fans there when they go Hughes after those big sacks, and loves them. Hasn't got one tonight, so there are a few Calgary fans here.
Yeah. Ticats have moved it to the Stampeder 50, and it'll be Lefevre, and he gets 5 more to the 45. Now this is where it's become tougher for the Ticats. They've moved it to this point on the field with some regularity, but this is where Rich Stubler's defense has had an answer for Ken Austin's offense.
Well, Stubler's thought there is that you just be patient enough. Sooner or later, the offense will self-destruct. Tommy Condell and Kent Austin work the offense for the Ticats together. But yeah, they got to find an answer in the plus territory.
Close to 6 for Lefevre, so 2nd and 4. Trouble here. Ball is loose, and he's going to have to just get back on it. There were a couple of problems, issues last week on shotgun snaps.
Sometimes defensive coordinators, I've heard this a few times now, that'll say, if you make an offense go 12 to 14 plays in a drive, they will self-destruct somewhere along the way. And Hamilton Tiger Cats, self-inflicted wound. A shotgun snap that should have been handled.
So on comes Medlock, and this will be from 52. Wind at his back. Good hold, good kick, and they get the 3 back. Medlock's longest of the year, 52 out. That's the longest in the league this year, and it's a 10-point Calgary lead.
Did Drew Edwards challenge me, but so did Argos quarterback Trevor Harris. Now, I could have done it on my own with a bucket, but I brought some friends along with me to do it.
Oh,
Brisk! I know Ron Smith got it. The panel, you guys are up.
Well done, Drew. Well done, Matthew.
Nice challenge. Donation to ALS is the next step, but good job. And there's a lot of ice, not as much water in that bucket. I mean, you got to be careful what size bucket you choose.
Yes, you got in trouble for the size of your bucket. Here's Bo Levi Mitchell. He's got Martin McDaniel. What a good defensive play by Eric Harris, who's made the biggest offensive play.
He knows how to handle it. He knows how to handle the ball and play the ball, Eric Harris.
Oh, yeah. Oh, where is it now?
Towel. Good play in the open field.
You know, it's been fun this week seeing how many people, well, in all of sports getting involved in it, but it means a lot in the CFL when we all got to know Tony Proudfoot.
Absolutely.
Former TV cameraman Tom Fisk, also a victim of ALS. Bully by Mitchell again, watch McDaniel, and it's picked off! It's Eric Harris again! And it's a turnover for the Ticats, and Eric Harris is having himself an afternoon, isn't he?
Offensive afternoon. Wow. The linebacker. A touchdown catch. Goes for the corner rod and gets a knockdown, and then comes right back. They think, well, wait a minute. This is a linebacker on Marquay McDaniel, our #1 receiver. We should win this battle, and Calgary doesn't. Eric Harris wins the jump ball, comes up with it, keeps his feet in bounds, and then does a little victory dance in front of the crowd here.
So a touchdown in the first half. Big knockdown against McDaniel, and now an interception to give the ball back to Dan Lefevre with under 2.5 minutes to go, and good field position. Here's Lefevre, quarterback draw, and Freddie Bishop wraps him up quickly. He's going to confirm that he did get a foot down. That play was along the sidelines, but Truck confirming that he had a foot down on that play and got both in, actually.
Yep.
So that was not an issue.
Way to play the ball underneath, cut underneath that throw, took it at its high point, got both feet in back.
Come on now, offense for you. 7-1-7. Shout out to the G.
2nd and 10. Another air snap. The Stampeders were offside as Hughes tosses down Lefevre. But no Hughes chant yet.
Offside, Calgary, number 40. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Sean Lemon off the other edge for Calgary. They got to make sure that snap is cleaner, though.
A couple of times now, yeah. It almost seems like Dan Lefevre, they're catchable snaps, but he's just taking his eyes off it a little bit just before it arrives, which is the downside of the shotgun. Quarterbacks want to look at the coverage.
So 2nd and 5. Lefevre had time, and he's got Bakari Grant. Caught that one in traffic, and has another Hamilton first down.
Wasn't a very big window there. But Lefevre he just trusts his receiver on this throw. I mean, this window isn't very big. Calgary Stampeders on either side of it. See, there's 3 of them again, and he just trusts that Bakari Grant will come back to the ball as he did.
First down, short drop, and the pass incomplete. Keon Raymond there to disrupt it just enough that Fantuz couldn't make the completion.
You know, there's been some success for Hamilton on the backside of the formation, that short side of the field offensively in the passing game. When they go to the wide side in the inside hook to curl areas, that's where Keon Raymond lines up, and he is just not allowing them to complete a pass in that area.
2nd and 10. Lefevre had trouble finding somebody. Now he's got a receiver and a completion at the Hamilton bench to Greg Ellingson. Waited lots of time, and finally Ellingson came open.
He did, because Keon Raymond comes on a blitz here, but he gets engaged with the back. I believe it was Moses Madu in the backfield, not a tight end, and he starts to dance with him a little bit, giving an extra second to Dan Lefevre.
So the Ticats have something going at the 33. Under a half minute to go, 3rd quarter. Lefevre will take off. Try and bounce it outside, and Jamar Wall says no. Short gain when it looked like Lefevre had something opening up off the right side.
You know, he made the decision so quickly that it allowed Calgary to just react to it. When the quarterback gets out on the edge like that, you can really put the secondary linebackers in a bind, because if you hesitate, you're not sure if you're going to throw and you should stay back in coverage, or you're going to run and should come up and help in the tackle. But because he declared so early, allowed Calgary just to flow to it.
Final play, 3rd quarter, 2nd and 7. And wide open in the flat, it's a first down. Ellingson with the catch. So the Ticats trailing after 3 quarters here. They are down by 10, but are threatening to start the 4th quarter. Can they come back against the 5-1 Stampeders? It's Calgary 20-10 as we go to the 4th quarter in Hamilton.
Certainly hasn't been any that I've seen with none in the game, and there's none for the Hamilton Tiger Cats after 3 quarters. Numbers pretty similar, a little edge in yardage with the Calgary Stampeders, but as you mentioned earlier, the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the first half were moving the ball, but in their own end. And then they got into Calgary's end, and that's when they self-destructed. They've got something going now.
Yeah, they had Madu fumble when it looked like they had something going. They do have something going again. They need sevens.
Yeah, need to finish it off, especially against good football teams like the Calgary Stampeders, well-coached teams. You get down, you get your opportunities. You're not going to get many.
Ticats will work against the wind in the fourth quarter. Lefevre looked one way and now screens it off the other. Bakari Grant makes one man miss and scores. Touchdown, Ticats. "22 yards, Lefevre to Grant. And the Ticats get closer. And Bakari Grant has his first major of 2014.
And the Ticats take advantage of their opportunity in plus territory. Fake the screen to the front side of the play, go back to Grant on the backside. Nice second effort by Bakari Grant.
His biggest play so far this season, Keon Raymond was shaken up on the Grant touchdown. And a hand injury for the veteran Keon Raymond.
Moses Madu sold the fake screen to the wide side of the field so the defense would be influenced, and Bakari Grant could pick up that little dump pass and take it the rest of the way.
I know they told one day they told me not to do it. Let me know when I'm on.
So Medlock the extra point. It's a 3-point game in the first minute of the fourth quarter.
Bakari Grant wanted to know when he's on. Q, you're on.
I love that he trusted it.
Now you're not. Okay, let me show you on this little screen. Madu's going to come out here. Watch how he sells it. Moses Madu comes out to the front side, number 26. He jumps in the air going, hey, 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 hey. And that's influenced the defense to him a little bit, pull the coverage away from Bakari Grant. And then Grant does the rest from there. Nice second effort to make a man miss there. And then not get tripped up at about the 5-yard line. So Hamilton does finally take advantage of the opportunity with great field position in Calgary's end and finish it off with a major.
That was a little minute to me. The one that's going to come. He's supposed to be here today or within this week. So shout out to Junior. That's to you, little man. Hey. They representing, you know. Shout out to the band back in the Bay. He's choking all day, 5-1-0. Hey, West Coast all day.
So we're in for a good fourth quarter here, a 3-point lead for Calgary. And a touchdown for the Ticats off the interception by Eric Harris. Medlock to kick it. And it will be Cunningham from his 12. And a good return for Cedric Cunningham.
Got the wedge going
all the way to the 50-yard line before he's dragged down by McMaster product Mike Daly.
Watch the wedge get formed up in front of Cunningham here. See that Calgary wedge. Go ahead and run it. Let me show you how it gets formed up. Okay, stop it there. Here they come. Now you're going to have one in here, 2, 3, 4. They get the wedge going, and he runs right in behind it.
So a 48-yard kick return by Cedric Cunningham sets things up for Levi Mitchell. Handing it off inside, and here's Charles bumping it out, and Simone Lawrence will wrestle him down after 4.
And good teams, they find ways. And Calgary Stampeders, after giving up the touchdown, the long drive by Dan Lefevre, all the momentum with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, they get a big return.
It's the longest kickoff return of the year for Calgary, and Cunningham, who was able to choreograph it, is now out as a receiver, replacing Fuller.
He's played a hot hand.
Tim St. Pierre is in the offense as well. He'll stay in the block. Levi Mitchell in trouble and dropped. Eric Harris with the sack as he adds adds to his resume tonight.
I'll show you an example of a couple things. First of all, Harris is having himself a game. I mean, playing offensively on defense, also has an offensive touchdown, an interception, now a sack. And one other thing, how the evolution of the hits on the quarterback is continuing to grow and common sense being used by the officials on this play. I mean, there was a little bit of contact on the helmet from Harris, but not enough to draw a penalty flag. A good no call by the officials there.
Mather looks for the pin. Line drive. Banks from his 5. Gets a block. And Keenan McDougal will take him down at the 11-yard line.
Should have let that go in.
48-yard boot. 6 on the return. Bakari Grant closing the gap with this touchdown. Have conceded a single there?
Yeah, I think the field position is so much more important. With over 12 minutes to go, there's still so much football to be played that point not as important as the field position.
They're starting at their 12 here, and here's Brandon Banks, and he gets closed down quickly by Josh Bell after maybe a yard.
Not to mention, Chris, now at the field position where it starts, Hamilton, if they're 2 and out here, and don't gain any more yards from now, they have to decide whether or not to give up 2 where they are on the field, or punt it out and have Calgary receive that punt in field goal position automatically. So
7 times,
I'd have given up the single.
7 times they've started inside their 27-yard line, 3 times inside their 12. Including this time, they have yet to have a 2 and out in the game. Trying to avoid it here. 2nd and 9. Pressure on. Lefevre escapes. And flips it incomplete. Looked like he wanted to take off, and then...
Did he get hurt?
Yeah, he might have jammed something or twisted something. Looked like he was going to take off, and at the last second either changed his mind or came up lame.
Well, it looked like he just tried at the last second throw it out of bounds and save what
right there.
He pulled up and just got rid of the ball so he wouldn't get hit. Yeah, no question. It looked like he was hurt. He was hurt before any contact. Right there.
So the first 2 and out of the game for the Ticats, and Medlock boots it, and look at the field position here. Cunningham fielded that around the 50. He's down to the 35-yard line. So Calgary now in field goal position when we come back. Working on the left knee of Dan Lefevre at the Ticat bench, and you can see the discomfort he's in.
Not a good sign when the player is waving off the tests to the knee because of the pain.
Tough to see for a young guy showing so much promise in his 4th consecutive game start. But right now it's Bo Levi Mitchell trying to take advantage of great field position. Getting strung out here and getting taken down by Taylor Reed. Got enough of a paw on him to knock Bo Levi Mitchell off balance.
Well, one more quick look at, and it was the knee that jammed. We'll take another quick look at Dan Lefevre and Jeremiah Mazzoli. Remember, Lefevre took over for Mazzoli in the Calgary game early in the year, and he gets the news that he's out. So we'll see Mazzoli when Hamilton gets the ball back.
Cruel sport, isn't it?
Yep.
2nd and 11. Mitchell out of the pocket, takes off, and he'll come up short. Dropped at the 30-yard line, so the Ticats register back-to-back 2 and outs.
But hold them to a field goal. Calgary had field goal position when they caught that punt, and it goes back to Brandon Banks' decision to run that ball out a few plays ago. That was, by the way, back-to-back nice tackles by Taylor Reed at middle linebacker for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
So Rennie Paredes comes in. He has surpassed 600 career points so far in this game and looking for his 3rd consecutive field goal of the afternoon. And it's now 12 straight on the year for Paredes. So Jeremiah Mazzoli comes in relief of the injured Lefevre, down by 6.
First start for Mazzoli, he went 9 of 20 and was pulled for Lefevre, and then Lefevre took over from there. This was his 4th straight start. The ice pack's getting wrapped on that left knee for Dan Lefevre, so he will be done for tonight, and it'll be Jeremiah Mazzoli if the Ticats want to come back here.
282 yards for Lefevre passing, 2 touchdowns and interception, 9 rushes, 41 yards on his afternoon. So the game in the balance for Mazzoli. His first pass is on target to Ellingson. Quick out for 5 at the 40.
Kent Austin liked a lot of what Jeremiah Mazzoli was doing early on, which is why he gave him that nod early when Zach Collaros went down. But there was a little issue with ball security. And Mazzoli, just in key situations in a couple of games, lost the handle on the football and was a little sloppy with it. That's when the decision was made to go with Dan Lefevre.
2nd and 5. Short drop, long pass, wanted Tasker, got a flag. Brandon Smith was in coverage. Saw the Stampeders bench erupt. Did he turn around Tasker, and is that why it's a 30-yard penalty against Calgary?
Pass interference, Calgary, number 28. Spot of the foul, 1st down, Hamilton.
Well, you know, Tasker does a great job. For young players watching this, he draws the penalty because it's a corner route, but when he gets the ball thrown inside, he spins back to go and try and get it, even though he may have not got to it. Here comes the corner. Now watch, he turns back inside. That's when he's held. If he doesn't turn and gives up on that ball, there is no flag.
Now Madu inside, and tackle made by Charleston Hughes. But a big penalty that gets the Ticats into field goal range. Mentioned that Medlock missed from 47 into the wind in the first half. He came out at halftime and hit a few from around 48 yards at this end of the field.
And remember, he had the lace in that long one.
He's only looking for more than a field goal here. And a nice snag by Biggs. Breaks a tackle and is dropped at the 30-yard line. He's going to be just short of the 1st down.
Yeah, some of the young guys, and especially these little scat receivers, the tiny ones that like to bounce around and try and make people miss all the time. You got to know the situation. Now, he may be close enough.
I think he is. Jumbo team is coming on.
But, Chris, he didn't have to make it this close. I mean, Brandon Banks needs to turn up field and pick up the 1st down yards right now, not keep going laterally. He was tightrope walking that 1st down line. Know the down and distance and situation. Get up the field if you have to.
Sean Levin showing some range there with the tackle, forcing this 3rd down situation. Mazzoli's got the 1st down. Keon Raymond back into the game with first contact, and a little extracurricular well after Mazzoli had earned the 1st down yardage.
This is the part of Jeremiah Mazzoli that Ken Austin liked. I mean, just the kind of the gunslinger mentality, get out there and start chucking it. And he looks like he's playing with great confidence coming off the bench here. Got up a little feisty, fighting back against the 3 defenders for the Stamps.
Double tight ends, bunch of receivers to the wide side, and Mazzoli skips the pass incomplete.
Boy, he didn't step into that throw at all. He just awkwardly tried to rush it. Former quarterback Ken Austin knows exactly what he did fundamentally wrong there. He sort of short-stepped it, and then his lead foot slipped on him, and that ball goes right into the turf.
Like a little bit of a shot put, but 2nd and 10. 5 receivers set. Madu stays in. Pressure on. Pass complete. There's Jaguar. Down to the 25. He'll be short of the first down. Wall with the tackle. And the field goal team will come on.
So we'll get an example of sort of the good and the concerns for Ken Austin. He encourages his backup quarterback on the sideline. By the way, Zach Caleros is not quite ready yet. Starting quarterback for Hamilton to start the season.
So this is a 32-yard attempt for Medlock. Made from 52 with the wind, as missed from 47 at this end.
Timeout, Hamilton.
I think they're short a guy. Hamilton Tiger Cats may be short a man, and they are. So they have to burn a timeout in a close game.
And that's a costly timeout to take. And Arnaud Gascon-Nadon comes onto the field. How big is that lost timeout going to be in the last minute or two? Looking for 3 to get within 3. And Medlock has put it through. So it's 23-20 for the Stampeders. Hugh Charles has been a factor in his first Stampeder game. He'll go back on offense with Bo Levi Mitchell and company when we return.
Oh, that was a favorite as a kid.
Saw Kate on Twitter last night. She had some. So under 6 minutes left. 3-point game. Medlock kicking it off. Cunningham had a big kick return earlier in the second half. And he'll bring it out to the 39. Let's take a look at Hugh Charles. Afternoon so far.
It's about what Hugh Charles is about. I mean, he steps in, makes nice block early on, and is good at blocking. You know, he's efficient running the football. He had 9 carries so far for 68 yards, as long as the 27-yarder. About what he is about. And that's when I talked to Dave Dickinson this week. I said, what do you expect from him? He said, well, he's a good, reliable back. We know him well. He can beat you, get outside with his quickness. So he's done basically what they expected him to do.
Crowd getting loud. The Stamps have back-to-back 2-and-outs. And they give it to Charles. Trying to get outside, and Simone Lawrence with the tackle, but that's a good first down burst of 9.
Well, right now, this series is setting up nicely in that matchup that I mentioned off the top of the show with Dave Dickinson and his play calling against Orlando Steinauer, defensive coordinator for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and him trying to find a counter. Does he come with more safety blitz and get Craig Butler up and involved like he did in that third quarter and second quarter? And if so, what will be the answer for a guy like Dave Dickinson with a young quarterback like Bo Levi Mitchell to say, hey, if you see that safety come out of the middle, throw it to the hole. Markway McDaniel, Joe West, there's always a counter punch.
And Orlando Steinauer without his starting defensive end, Antonio Coleman, lost near halftime with the neck injury. Okay, Coach, free play here, or?
I get the first down here.
You get the first down.
And you got the lead, try and wind down some more time off the clock and then finish this drive with points. Steinauer wants to try and get that football back for his offense right now.
range ahead will be enough for the first down.
So Dave Dickinson, who, when I talked to him today, talked about how much he respects Alonzo Steinauer. Of course, Dickinson, the quarterback for the Calgary Stampeders, played in a couple of Grey Cups against Steinauer. Also with the BC Lions. Steinauer, of course, was with the Toronto Argonauts, but a great quarterback. Second to only Ricky Ray in career completion percentage, Dave Dickinson. And now the two guys who competed on the field compete as coaches.
Boy, you can see the chess match out there.
Oh, yeah.
Both teams changing their calls, and Taylor Reed getting to the quarterback. Flag flies. Levi Mitchell dropped back at the 40. See what the call is. It's going against Calgary.
Well, they brought the safety. So Steinauer gambles here, and he takes the safety out of the middle, saying...
Holding Calgary, number 69. That penalty's declined. Second down.
Brett Jones, the center, called on the hold. It's a loss of 10 on the sack by Reed. And that's 4 sacks in the game for the Ticats.
7 up. One of them being Craig Butler. And they turn in to be 8. Too much pressure for Mitchell to get the ball to that hole. Now we'll see on second down if Steinauer gambles again. Not this time.
Second and 20. 4-man rush. Mitchell has time as a receiver, and it's Campbell with a first down. They convert on second and long again.
Right at the marker. And Steinauer can't believe it. This time he backs off and does not pressure Mitchell. Gives him more time to throw, and Mitchell finds Campbell right here on this end, and that's a mistake.
Yeah.
2 receivers in the same profile, and he can't believe after an offensive mistake they can't get the knockdown.
This has been a problem last week, fourth quarter against BC. 6 times in the fourth quarter. Converted second and long, second and 7 or more.
And I asked Steinauer this week about playing against Dave Dickinson. He says, yeah, same as a player, great mutual respect. Quarterback that was so precise. And in the Grey Cup in 1989, Steinauer actually got him. A nice interception playing that corner position with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That was a game that Hamilton, of course, won the Grey Cup that year, but in 98, it was Dickinson winning with Calgary. They're battling again in the giveaway.
Final play before the warning, it's second and 6. Ticat 45-yard line. Rob Cote, the ball carrier, not going anywhere. There's Arnaud Gascon-Nadeau.
And it comes down and right now. Comes down to right now, and he knows it.
3-minute warning given to the benches. We'll be back for a good finish in Hamilton. Situation here. Calgary's not going to attempt a 53-yard field goal. Rob Mavers on. Is this the one time you turn a punter loose and say, go get the single?
Oh, they go back and forth talking on the sideline. I mean, if he needs to kick this 60 yards in the air away from Banks and try and get this single.
The other question, do you want Banks giving up the single here?
No. No, he's got to get it out now.
And he does turn it loose, but that's an angle punt, and look, where is that going to go out? They're going to mark it, well, inside the 10, well, right at the 10. Mavers like a little bit better, but it's still a 3-point game on a long field. Let's check in with Matthew Shinetti.
Guys, let's go through the injuries on both sides. First, Dan Lefevre is obviously out. He has ice on his left knee. Jeff Fuller for the Stampeders has a shoulder injury. He's out. Micah Johnson was out earlier in the second half with a lower body injury. And Rico Murray did not come out for the second half. He has a left hamstring injury, guys. So that ice is being used on both sidelines.
Tough to see a young rising star in the league in Dan Lefevre watching on the sidelines. Along with C.J. Gable, it's Mazzoli's game in the balance now. Let's see what he can do with it. Throws a dart complete to Andy Fantuz. He's 4 for 5 after that completion.
Well, Mazzoli has to just run the offense, and when Hamilton was successful offensively, it's when they were running that misdirection with Madu going in one direction, receivers coming out the other side, and just sort of chipping away and being patient with this Calgary defense.
Second and a couple. And off the right side, good plunge for the first down.
I mean, he has to be efficient. The clock is 2:13, so you understand that the time is working against you now too, but still plenty of time that you don't have to force it back-to-back throws of, over 10, 15 yards to that intermediate deep type of routes.
At a good training camp, we were hearing word that he was challenging for the starter's job then. Got it when Collaros went down. Throws that pass, and Fantuz can't make the catch. Keon Raymond has had quite a day.
Just play after play. It's amazing to me how many teams try and go after the veteran. And he just sits on this dig route from Andy Fantuz, really barely backpedaled at all. That's just recognition, route recognition from a veteran player.
You talk about matchups, they're two of the smartest guys in the league. Fantuz versus Raymond on either side of the football. 2nd and 10. Mazzoli throwing, and that's intercepted. Into traffic, and Jamar Wall comes up with it. And he gets nailed at the 30-yard line, but a big takeaway for the Stampeders, their third of the game.
That's what I was talking about with Jeremiah Mazzoli, is that when Dan Lefevre ran the offense well, it was those little 5-yard throws. They go to Fantuz on an intermediate route at about 12 to 15 yards. Knocked down, goes back on the second down now, tries to force the ball to a deep route into double coverage, interception. Basically game over.
And you saw the view, 3 red and white jerseys closest to the football. So 1:48 to go. Stamps lead by 3 and in field goal range. Hugh Charles straight ahead.
Run the rock, use the clock, work it right down to as far as you can, and then kick a field goal. And remember, Hamilton burned a timeout when they didn't have enough on their field goal attempt earlier in this fourth quarter.
So 2nd and 4 from the 24. Ticat defense trying to limit the damage. Charles inside again, bounced off, and outside, he'll skip for a first down. Gets knocked out of bounds, but that's a big first down for Hugh Charles when didn't look like there was anything available.
Well, there wasn't where he was trying to go, but he was patient, kept the feet moving. You know when you go fishing, you're on the pond and you see those little bugs that skip across the top? That's what he reminds me. I don't even know what they're called, but he's one of those little skitter bugs that stay on the top of the water. Those water bugs. Is that what they are? They're
I think they're water bugs.
Water bugs. Is that simple? Okay. They're water bugs. But he reminds me of that. Water bug.
Well, if he gets one more yard, he's going to remind you of a 100-yard rusher. And
didn't get it there.
Sure he got it there. Remember, the Ticats used their timeout. And Ticat fans don't have to be reminded that they've dropped 4 games by a combined total of 15 points this year.
Including that Winnipeg game that had the lead and they had the Bombers way back in their own end. Drew Willie put together a drive and kind of threw it up to win on the last play. Right here at McMaster.
2nd and 10. Bo Levi Mitchell trying to put this one out of reach. From the 12. Underneath, it's a catch. McDaniel gets up and stretches for the first down. Don't think he got into the end zone, but that should be enough for a first down.
And that should do it.
Yes, it should.
This young Hamilton team is so close, and I say that because, you know, I can go back to a couple of decisions. top teams in the West, and Winnipeg coming in here in Hamilton. I don't think they had lost yet at that point, or one loss, I think, at that point. They were top of the West, and they had Winnipeg on the ropes. They've had Calgary right here in their sights with a chance to win it, and it slips away.
Well, it's going to be third down.
Again, go back to that play where Brandon Banks tried to run after catching a punt on his 5-yard line, a 3-point game with 12 minutes to go. That ends up turning into a 6-point game for Calgary in the lead there. And then Jeremiah Mazzoli tries 2 deep balls, basically intermediate to deep balls, when he's got 2 minutes to go, and it's a 3-point game. So now Calgary can just finish this baby off.
So they mark it at the 3. It's a full yard. Ticats need a stop with the rain falling here at Ron Joyce. Tate back in. Tate goes to the side and will have the first down. He's got the touchdown. Drew Tate into the end zone. And that will seal the deal.
Good teams find a way. Hugh Charles comes in, plugs a hole for Calgary Stampeders that got deeper every game. I mean, John Cornish out in game 1. Matt Walter played for 2. Just crossed the plane there. Nice effort from Drew Tate.
Eric Harris has been one of the best Ticats today. Had him in his grasp, but Tate stretched out to break the plane. Command Center has yet to give its seal of approval.
It looked like he crossed the plane with the ball. Maybe we take another look at that.
Ticats will go on a bye, and
touchdown.
It is a touchdown. Next up will be the Toronto Argos on Labor Day. The next game for the Stampeders as they continue an Eastern trip with a game a week from now in Ottawa. West over the East again. Could have gone the other way last night in Ottawa, and the Western team finding a way to win on the road here again today in what is expected to be the last game at Ron Joyce. These are up-to-date pictures of the new stadium, which they tell us should be ready for Labor Day Monday. That's not confirmed yet. And I'll let my partner come up with the answer of where they'll play if it's not ready, because I don't have that answer.
I don't either. I'm going to just, my glass is going to be half full, and I'm going to say it'll be in the new stadium, Tim Hortons Field. And, you know, Ken Austin hasn't had a home game, a true home game. I mean, they played all last year in Guelph. They did a good job in Guelph, don't get me wrong, and the Ticat fans have been doing their best to follow the team where they've been, but it's been a difficult situation. And remember, this is a team that got to the Grey Cup last year under those circumstances. So I think we've seen the last of Hamilton when you talk about how close these games have been for them. However, close doesn't count. You got to start finding a way. The Calgary Stampeders certainly have done that with different running backs, different ways to win. Remember, the first game between these two teams was a 10-7 affair.
And a field goal late in the game that was botched that could have tied it. When I prefaced a question to Ken Austin yesterday about being a hard luck team, as soon as I mentioned hard luck, he started to shake his head. It's not even factored in.
Don't worry about it.
Tasker on the return, and he'll get collared by Freddie Bishop. So the decision desk rules this is in the books. The Argos we'll see tomorrow.
That's the BC Lions,
at home against the BC Lions. That should be a good game. The Red Blacks are probably still thinking about how that one got away from them last night. And the Alouettes later this evening at Mosaic against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And there's some Western teams saying, how did Ottawa not beat Edmonton last night? And some rivals frustrated that Hamilton didn't do the same this afternoon. A little pass underneath to Bakari Grant, but the West keeps finding a way to win. And look at the race with the Rough Riders set to play tonight, and we'll again see the Lions tomorrow.
And if it continues, one of those teams will not make the playoffs and might win 10 games. And I know that creates the discussion of the one division only.
Juwan Simpson on Bakari Grant.
See what Jeremiah Mazzoli's doing now, should have done with 2 minutes to go. But he'll learn.
And it looks like he's going to be the guy. Although the bye week, there's a completion to Ellingson on the final play of the game. The bye week gives him a couple weeks. Will Zach Caleros be ready, or will it be Mazzoli? It's 6-1 for the Stampeders. It's 1-6 for the Tiger Cats as Bo Levi Mitchell and the Stampeders come up with a 30-20 victory here, and Dan Lefevre will leave on crutches. So long from Hamilton. Sports Center is next.
And as we get set to join Sports Center, Chris, Glenn, thank you for that. We look quickly at this game that just took place. Schultz, you had talked about it. I mean, the penalties hurting the Tiger Cats in that opening drive when they took 3, kept it going, and Calgary doesn't look back after taking that lead by a touchdown early in the game. But similar story. Hamilton's close. Close is just not good enough.
No, it isn't good enough, but they had their moments, because there was a scenario of plays where Hamilton Ticats blitzed Bo Levi Mitchell successfully, knocked him back 10 yards. Bo Levi Mitchell came back and threw a 20-yard first down. Look at this point in the game. The Ticats right now, they're going to have an opportunity to win this game, because I truly believe that they had been able to put this game away. This was the point. Great blitz call by Orlando Steinauer, and then the very next play, look at the strike. Oh, man. Bang. Automatic first down. To me, guys, that was a changing point of the entire game.
Yeah, Schultz, I like the pressure that Orlando Steinauer and the Hamilton Ticats defense put on Bo Levi Mitchell, forcing the issue in the second half. They had to do that. He was still too comfortable in the first half, and that proved to be the difference. But I love, and this kind of masks a ball game that, you know, it was a coming out party for a young football player by the name of Eric Harris for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Simply phenomenal effort. Just couldn't pull it together in the end and make enough plays, and it was just too much of that steadiness from the Calgary Stampeders finding a way to win, and Hamilton Tiger Cats still trying to figure out how to find a way to win.
Once again, you know, like you said, they found a way to win. But these Hamilton Tiger Cats, now it's mental. Now they're thinking, like, what can we do to win a game? We thought we've done everything. We thought we played some good defense, offense. We had some good returns. What do we need to do? They're throwing up their hands now, and it becomes mental.
With Dan Lefevre going down and Caleros already down, and what we've seen from Mazzoli at this point, I'm not sure that this football team has a lot of confidence in Mazzoli, because he continues to force the issue in situations he doesn't have to, and pushing the ball down the football field and not taking what they give him. And to me, this is a situation going forward where you talk about confidence and not knowing how to win. Now they're looking at Mazzoli thinking, man, you know.
They have to have some confidence. They don't have any other option.
They're looking at Zach Caleros like, you ready?
You ready?
Please, yes.
CJ Gable, can you play quarterback?
Well, that's another part of the story. When is Caleros ready? They don't know. I mean, probably getting a little bit closer. We really don't know. But that the whole quarterbacking question for the Ticats is going to come up again, too. Well, it's interesting. We're looking ahead, too, to a game tonight. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, Montreal Alouettes. Now the Alouettes look at what Ottawa going to 1-6, Hamilton going to 1-6, Argo